I had an interesting interaction today on Instagram where I made a comment on a card that has been released in China, which was in Japan and it was an exclusive in Japan, but it's being released in China. Now, I said that it was like unfortunate that nowadays there are less and less exclusive cards in Japan. I'm not saying exclusive sets, I'm saying exclusive cards. Now, this opened up a little bit of a kind of like exchange between that person and myself, where they said that I was trying to profiteer over card pricing and so on and so forth. Where, if anybody who knows me knows I don't sell anything, so that's not really the case. But after explaining to this person that that wasn't my approach to that post and my way of thinking was different, they didn't want to talk about the facts. They wanted to talk about, you know, the Pokemon company should be able to print what they want where they want, which is totally obvious. However, is not the way that they've done everything until now, and that could lead into certain situations, which I'd like to talk about right now. So, for example, Bandai, in my opinion, with One Piece, and this is all my opinion, with One Piece, everybody talks about, oh, One Piece, second anniversary, and yeah, second anniversary? For real? Well, I can show you cards right now that were released 28 years ago for One Piece. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know why? Because Bandai didn't, in my opinion, didn't really have a business plan behind how they wanted to elevate the One Piece TCG. And you need to look at what they did with, let's say, Dragon Ball, when they moved the variant and trashed the other cards. And they still don't have value until this day. Some cards in Dragon Ball seriously do, but a lot of the cards that did don't. But you look at One Piece, 15 years ago cards. I mean, some people go, there wasn't any TCG for One Piece. Yeah, there really was, but they just didn't take care of it. Now, my going back to point about my question to the other person was, if all Grail cards or if all exclusive cards are just pumped out in different variants to every other country, then where is the core? Where has the core gone? Now, the core of Pokemon has always been Japan, in my opinion. So, when English goes to the moon, Japanese is just wasteful, useless paper, according to so many people. But then when English goes down, or Japanese becomes popular, and it swings and roundabouts. But there's always a core to come back to. Now, in my opinion, Bandai didn't do that. And that's where they, made a mess in the bed. But they've done a lot better this time in this 2 years anniversary. But they've copied a lot, in my opinion. They've copied a lot of the cues from Pokemon over the last 28 years. So many things are so familiar. This promo here, that promo here, these competitions, these competition cards. The only thing, and this I wasn't gonna talk about this, but something I've been thinking about recently, is what distinguishes one piece set from another one piece set? The artwork across a lot of the cards is similar in dramatic effect, but they don't have variant cards so much. There was the one of the end of year set, which again is in my opinion is following Pokemon's cue for the end of year set. We had a lot of reprints, but they did have some variant cards. You know, the skull and crossbones across, design pattern, holo pattern, stuff like that. But they don't have special tool cards or special kind of like so many kind of like we had kind of like crystal cards. We had like so many different variant cards from different sets where you can go back over a 3-year period and go, oh, that's unique. Yeah, that was only there for like 1 or 2 years and it's gone. And then 10 years later, when you go back to those sets, those are the things you're looking for. But in One Piece, are you going to have that to look back on? Or is it going to be another Luffy card or another whichever card? Different artwork, but there's no identity to the set. You have the manga and you have the gold manga, okay? But it's the top 1%, and it's not even like, in a case or 3 cases or 10 cases or 20 cases. It's like, it's just super, 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 super crazy rare, right? But if you look at Pokemon, it's rare, but you can find them, like this variant card in this set and that set. So this, going off on a tangent, but it is coming back to my point of Pokemon has always been good at keeping a rarity or a core to its being. But recently, I feel, in my opinion, that the Pokemon Company is diluting its look backable core collecting items by distributing them across each country and everything becoming available at different times, staggered at different times. But if you look back, you go, well, yeah, I have that in Chinese, I have that in Korean, I have that in English, I have that in French. Yeah, you have a Japanese copy. Yeah, but we have one in Korean and whatever. There's the core is being ripped out of it. And I've only been feeling this for about the last 18 months or so. But since China has come onto the market, it's kind of like it's a kind of insulated market, so we can do what we want, in my opinion, is the approach to it. But we all know that nowadays it's not kind of like there's no such thing as a market which is just an internal market. If it's in China, it's going to get spread around, and if it's in Japan, it's going to get spread around. But if you did it in one country only, and that's the core for some cards, then there's always something to come back to. There's a core. But if you start spreading it out, and then you spread it out somewhere else, and then recently there are a few going off on another tangent, but recently in the last 2 years there have been a few cards in English which have only been based in English for like Pokemon Center kind of promos, which have only, I think there's one in Shrouded Fates. There's one promo which is just in English. That's cool. I love that. I love that. That's really really good, because that also gives a hook into one market, but it's just silly to print everything from Japan everywhere with no unique cards, because then there's nothing to look back on. There's no core, and maybe I'm 100% wrong on this, but until now, I feel that however the market goes up and down on English or left and right on English, eventually people come back to the Japanese market, and eventually there's a core. But if you water it down, in my opinion, you become Bandai. And that's not where we need to be. You just need to look back on 28 years of history to know that's where you don't want to be, in my opinion. So that's my rant from the bedroom, okay? And I made that, by the way. I made that. It's kind of cool. Well, I think it is anyway. But thank you for watching. And bye from Tokyo. Drop your comments down, for or against.